Hello, Forney. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Forney Now podcast. I'm here with our very first guest, our special events coordinator, Ricky Hoelscher. Ricky, thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's pretty cool being the inaugural guest for this.
You should definitely feel special because we were coming off of some really cool events that the city has hosted, and I know you're already working hard for 2023, and I just wanted to kind of bring you on and preview some of the things that the residents of Forney can look forward to. First off, could you talk about a little bit more about yourself and what you do for the city?
Yeah, well, like you said, I'm the special events coordinator, and I try to coordinate all the larger scale events that more departments within the city need to be a part of. From our Independence Day celebration, which is probably our biggest one of the year, all the way down to our wine walk that we had this past year, which was our smaller scale one, but still a pretty good event. And then anything in between that I can create. And I just now got, some room in my budget to book some concerts at the amphitheater too. So those are some pretty big events that I'm trying to get going and make those shows worthwhile for the citizens of Forney.
Yeah, and I wanted to talk a little bit more about that because you're going to focus on the Spelman Amphitheater. Mm-hmm. It's a pretty cool venue, and you're going to try to focus on booking talent, booking concerts that are free to residents. Is there any concerts that you plan on having this year that we can talk about?
Yeah, I right off the bat, I have 3 coming up. The first one starting on March 4th. That one, I have 3 opening artists that are, small and up and coming, but the headliner, Jason Boland and the Stragglers. We're really looking forward to that, because he brings 20 years of experience to the amphitheater, and it's a free show. You're not going to get that at very many places. And then, we have a Matchbox 20 cover band on the 24th, opened by a band called Against All Odds. The lead singer is from Forney. And then we'll have a Cinco de Mayo event that, again, it will be headlined by a pretty solid act that you won't get to see for free at most places. And they're pretty popular, within the Texas region. So just right off the bat, those 3 shows, starting off this new year, will hopefully can bring some attention that we have a very good venue in the Spelman Amphitheater.
Yeah, and that's an interesting point. And we talked about this off air as far as the Spelman Amphitheater. Some residents might not even know about it. Could you talk a little bit more about that venue and what it offers for the residents of Forney?
Yeah, it's funny. I see it on Facebook often whenever we bring up, an amphitheater concert or discussion, or people in general have told me they didn't even know we had the amphitheater here, and it's been there since
I think 2012.
2012, yeah. So, and for a city of our size, that venue is a really cool, open outdoor venue, and for that size and stuff, most major cities have something like that for what we're trying to put on, but smaller towns like ours, I haven't seen a venue that size and of that grandeur at cities like ours. So it's really a cool deal, and I just want to make sure we get it out there for folks of Forney to know about, to be able to say, hey, what's going on at the Spelman, instead of saying, I didn't even know we had a place called the Spelman, and try to flip the script on that narrative for that venue.
Yeah, for the folks listening, the Spelman Amphitheater is located at Forney Community Park. You're planning really right off the bat here in 2023 some big time concerts, and in the past people might know that the amphitheater has had some cover bands, and I think that's great too. Mm-hmm. I think there's good things to both, but you're wanting to kind of up the ante and bring more well-known talent to the amphitheater.
Yeah, so whenever I first started a little over a year ago, I lived in Forney a little bit before I first started here with the city, and I didn't even know there's an amphitheater. And whenever I saw that, and that this position could oversee concerts, I got excited about it, and some people at my old job just laughed at me and said, "You'll never book anything but mid-level cover bands." And there've been some really good cover bands in the past. Whenever I go back and look at recent events, but I kind of took that as a slight and took that personally. So when the money got moved over to my budget to be able to do more at the amphitheater, I was determined to book well-known acts. They don't have to be national, but people with a following. If they're independent and they're well-known, then I'll bring them on. Now, don't get me wrong, I still want to book those cover bands and stuff like that, because they give people a little bit more of what they want without having to bring the actual artist here, and they can still listen to their favorite music as well. There's nothing against cover bands, but no, I took that as a personal challenge to, one, prove people on my end wrong, but two, if they're affordable and they're well known, I can bring them to Forney and put Forney on the map, as well as give the citizens of Forney good quality artists to come see. So yeah, that is, I am trying to up the ante on that one, so to say. So yeah,
I think it's a good experience for people that live in Forney or in the area where they don't necessarily have to go to Dallas or
right.
To go see these type of artists that are worthy of playing in some big time venues. So let's talk a little bit more about your very first event here in 2023. You already mentioned it. So you're going to have a concert on March 4th.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a Texas Independence Day concert. Texas Independence Day is March 2nd. So that Saturday, that following Saturday, you're going to do it up big. Talk a little bit more about what that event's going to look like.
Yeah, so I'm still working on it, but we'll have 2 to 4 food vendors. Trying to keep them local. If they're not from Forney, they'll be close to Forney. We'll have a alcohol vendor out there that is able to distribute alcohol. So don't get too crazy. But the gates will open at 4. And Randy Hoyt, who was our opening entertainer for New Year's Eve, he will be back. He will open that one up at 4:30, this time with a full band. And we'll lead into Colton Mathis and then Zach Welch right after that. And headlined by Jason Boland starting at 9 to 10:30. It's open seating, so I mean it's grass lawn, so bring your chairs and come ready for a good time and some great music.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a really fun event to start off your event schedule, and it's going to be free. Folks, like you said, can bring their lawn chairs, their blankets, and really make an entire Saturday out of that event. So I think that's going to be really fun for Forney residents. Hopefully, knock on wood, we have some good weather, and it's going to be a good, nice day for people to come out and celebrate Texas independence with some good local music. And then you're going to follow that up with another concert later in March.
Yeah, so March 24th, I've been contacted by one of the top Matchbox 20 tribute bands. They're called Matchbox 22. They'll headline that. They'll do an hour and a half show as well. And the opener for that one is a band called Against All Odds. And I don't know if you know her. Her name's Ariel, the lead singer for that. But she's from Forney too. So I'm trying to keep a part of these acts as local as possible to Forney. To give it that hometown feel as well as that popularity feel with these headliners. So that one I don't have times nailed down just yet, but they will be posted as soon as I can get them.
And folks listening, you can learn more about these events at forneytx.gov/events. You can also follow the Forney Parks and Events page on Facebook. So check that out. We'll keep everything updated on those, and we'll have more events show up and be put on the calendar as the year plays out. And if you're in Forney, some of the big events that the city has kind of historically done. Independence Day celebration at Community Park, that's really big. Mm-hmm. The city's biggest event. Brews on Boat Arc has been done a few times. Trail of Treats, New Year's Eve ball drop. What are some new events that you're looking at doing or exploring for the city?
Well, there's one that I'm looking at doing, and don't hold me to this, but I'm looking to do a Founders Day weekend, and I've been working with the Spelman Museum on trying to figure out the history of Forney and whenever the city was founded. And there's a couple of different dates that you can go with, but the decision between myself and the museum was we can go with the June date that's there, which is June 9th. It's kind of a funny story, but I won't tell it right now. It's a little long, but June 9th and 10th is something that I'm looking at. I think that one's a really cool event, a little cool concept where, we just spend a weekend where we celebrate the founding of Forney. We have a lot of cool historical events that are, dedicated to Forney, but not one about Forney. And that's what I want to bring out, and keep it, again, with that hometown feel. As we're growing, I don't want us to forget our roots, and I want the folks moving into Forney to know about the city that they're moving to.
Sounds like an exciting concept. I also see that you're looking at doing something for Cinco de Mayo. In my memory, that hasn't been done, and at least in the past couple of years.
Yeah, and again, we mentioned the March 4th and then Cinco de Mayo. Whenever I got the budget to be able to do concerts at the Spelman, I wanted to not just do a Spelman concert series. That's been done in the past, and that's cool, but I want to give some of these concerts an identity. Not just a concert series, but Texas Independence Day, which is, I'm proud to be from Texas, so I wanted to do something that celebrated that. Cinco de Mayo, that's a big holiday that a lot of people like to celebrate, so why not put something on for the folks that want to celebrate it but don't want to go far. They're just different concepts, and giving some of these events identities of their own is something that I'm striving to do.
Sounds great. And most of these events are free for residents. I believe all of them are.
They are all free. And we'll see what happens in the future with the amphitheater. But it's something that the citizens of Forney, with moving here, and if you've been here for a very long time, prices have gone up. So why should they have to bear another burden on a financial fee to go to an entertainment area put on by their city? It's something that they've earned and they deserve, and I try to be cognizant of their time and money, and try to give them good quality production for free. So
once again, folks can go to forneytx.gov/events. We'll have all the events available there for folks to learn more information, and we'll also soon have an event calendar for the year of 2023. So you can go ahead and kind of plan out your weekends, and hopefully can attend at least a few of these. They're great, I promise you that. So we talked about Cinco de Mayo a little bit. Is there anything we can talk about, what you have planned for that one?
Well, I currently can't talk about the artist playing at it. I'm still working through the contract stuff with that. But again, it'll be something that I have an alcohol vendor for. Trying to keep with the Cinco de Mayo tradition, or theme. I'm going to have, more Hispanic-based food trucks there. Trying to tap into that culture and everything else for that type of an event. And diversify it a little bit, make it a little bit different than most of our other events.
Make sure you have some margaritas. I feel like that's a must, right?
That is something that I told our third-party vendors is you got to have some margaritas, maybe some Modelo or whatever else they got. Tecate, I don't know.
Absolutely.
As Rebecca tells me no.
So an event I know I'm kind of shifting gears, kind of going all over the place. An event that the city had involvement last year, which I thought was a really great event, was the Wine and Arts Festival. Yep. I believe that was the first time the city had their hand in it, and that was last year. Was the first year. Can you talk about what that event was and what that event's going to look like this year? Yeah.
So whenever I first started here, the parks director told me that people were wanting a spring version of Brews on Bodart, and I mean, Brews on Bodark is kind of unique because it's not an Oktoberfest, but it's our version of it because it happens around that same time. And I like, the beer drinkers and stuff. They like beer, but at the same time, there's Forney is the antique capital of Texas, and there's a rich art culture here. So I wanted to change it up and have an art and wine festival that the wine drinkers can come to. Moms can go drop their kids off with grandma and come out here and have a glass of wine while they look around. And we partnered with the Forney Arts Council to bring in some art vendors for that. And it was wildly successful. It far exceeded any expectations that I had for it. And it's one of our smaller events as far as map size goes. We just keep it to East Main. And this year we'll change it up a little bit and actually have some wineries out here. Instead, last year we had Enos, distribute the wine, and they'll help us with that again this year. But it'll be a little bit more like Brews, where we have a winery or two out here that folks can go try out their products. Really, really get to experience, those different wineries coming from the winery themselves.
Gotcha. Yeah, that was some of the feedback that we had from residents was to maybe have they were expecting wineries to be out there. So I think that'd be cool to make that adjustment and make that happen for folks. But yeah, I went to that event and I thought it was really good. It was smaller scale, like you said, just on Main Street. But I think it's really cool partnering with the Forney Arts Council because it seems like they place an emphasis on using local artists and local artisans. And that's not just for the Wine and Arts Festival, but if folks went to Christmas on Main, a lot of those vendors were really, if not in Forney, really close to Forney. So I think that kind of goes back to what you said about emphasizing local art. And
and the Forney Arts Council has been a great partnership for us as far as getting quality vendors. And the Art and Wine Festival was the very first one that we partnered with them on, and we told them, hey, bring in local, close to local, and that's what they brought. And Christmas on Main, same thing, like you said. They helped us with that as well, and knocked it out of the park as far as what they brought us. So that's a relationship, between the city and Parks Department and Forney Arts Council that's really, really strong and really good. We have nothing but good things to say about the Forney Arts Council, and hopefully this year we'll be able to broaden those partnerships, with associations like the Downtown Business Association, things like that. Because one thing that I strive to do for these events is to include as many people as possible, because without any of those, these events don't happen. And we're looking at be prepared for some cool things to happen with different associations this year.
Awesome. Looking forward to that. Last year you did some 5Ks and some newer things. Are you planning on doing anything like that for this year?
Yeah, so last year we had a couple 5Ks, and I'll trim it down and I'll do the Memorial Day 5K. That one was a really good, quick event that happened out of the community park. And we were able to raise $1,000 that went to Spirit of a Hero Foundation, and I plan on partnering with them again. They were a really good partner for that, and I'll see if I can't make it a little bit bigger this year. Maybe some medals and things like that. Because last year I just wanted to see how it would go, what registration would look like, and all that stuff, and it turned out to be fairly popular. So. This year I plan on, again, upping that ante on the 5K, and making it more of a tradition for Forney to do.
A couple years ago, I think Forney, it was before I got here in 2020, Forney used to do their Christmas event at the park, but it's recently relocated to downtown.
Yeah.
And we just had that, not even a month ago.
Yeah.
How did you think that event went?
Yeah, it's weird because I keep hearing it. It was it was downtown, then it moved to the park, and then moved back downtown, and for a historic event like that, for it to change so many times, it kind of makes that a little hard to explain. But this past year it was great. Attendance was up, and I don't think it slowed down from beginning to end. It was just nonstop. I think we had over 6,500 something show up in the span of 4 or 5 hours. And I mean, I think at one point we had like 2,500 on the map at one time. That's a lot of people. So next year it gives me ideas on what to do for this upcoming year, how to make it better, how to make it to where there's more things to do. We had the face painter, we had the bounce houses, and Santa as always. So what else can I do to improve upon it? Those are things that I'm looking at right now. And see what else can I bring, to the table for those 6,500 that showed up, and if it grows, those folks that show up again. So yeah, those are things that I'm looking at now, because this past Christmas on Main was pretty big. It was really cool to see the citizens of Forney show up like that.
It definitely was a good turnout. I think kind of had the benefit of having really nice weather that day, which was always so weird with Texas. Who knows what December is going to be like?
Yeah.
It could be 80 degrees. It could be 20 degrees. Who knows?
There's one thing you do know: from June to August, it's going to be hot.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, and shockingly, people, and it's a good thing, but people come out for the July, July 4th event. Which is going to be July 1st this year. It's the Saturday, always the Saturday before 4th of July.
Yep.
And that event is huge. Are there things that you plan on doing differently this year? Historically, it's food trucks, fireworks. Anything different?
Yeah, and July 1st, Independence Day, and just like all the other events last year, moving into this year, I'm trying to kick it into high gear with. I wanted to see what most events looked like down to their bare minimum last year. So that way I can get a feel of what Forney wants, what they want to see, and things like that. So July 1st, I am planning on bringing in a stage, just like I did for New Year's Eve, until we can get our own of that magnitude. Bring in a stage, and I plan on having two entertainers, two bands, and then about the last hour of that event, I will have a DJ, and they'll be the ones that coordinate with our pyro group, and we'll do a pretty cool fireworks show for about a 15-minute show that I've on that one again. I've upped it, and should be bigger than it was last year, hopefully.
I think people are going to be excited to hear that. I've seen in years past, there have been times where they've had live music out at the park for 4th of July, and I know there's been feedback since then that's been gone. So for that to come back, as well as I was blown away the first time I went to one of these events at the magnitude of how big it was, but how good the fireworks show is. I think that's always something we get good feedback on, is how you do take it pretty seriously as far as giving the folks a good fireworks show.
Yeah, I mean, and that was probably the one thing last year that I had the most in my budget for, and I said, you know what, like if I'm going to bare bones this event, with just food trucks and bounce houses, then I am going to make sure that the fireworks show is worth having. Now, to me, I wasn't a fan of the show because I tend to be more of a perfectionist on the things that I'm told are going to happen, and whenever they don't happen, I'm harder on myself than I am anyone else. There was a lot of great feedback from that, but this year I went back to the drawing board and I said, no, I want it to be a little bit shorter with as much boom and bang as you can give me. I want shock and awe, and so working with a couple different companies to make sure I get the best bang for the city's buck. Literally. Pun intended. So yeah, that hopefully the fireworks show this year will be bigger and badder than it was last year, in a good way as far as badder goes. But We're looking at bringing in some face painters too for the kids. Again, we'll have the glow sticks as well, and the live bands too. So, and hopefully about 20 food vendors, because we had 19 last year between regular food vendors and dessert, and that was a pretty good balance. So yeah.
And for folks probably already know this. When you go to that event, make sure you show up pretty early
Yeah.
and secure your spot, because parking goes so incredibly fast.
Yep.
And it's kind of hard for folks if we're just going to show up for the fireworks show or toward
Yep.
the end. You're going to be hard pressed to find any decent
Yeah,
parking.
and that one is more focused on the safety and the parking planning as it is the regular event. Most events I look at, the event itself, in that time frame, whenever the event starts to ends. There's a lot of planning that goes on for that, but I typically wouldn't have to look at parking because downtown isn't really, there's public parking all over the place. Now most people would probably debate me on the all over the place comment, but whereas if we do an event at the park, we are spreading our resources very, very thin because we have to plan for parking. We have to have a bigger traffic plan to get out of there. And as anyone can tell you in the city of Forney, traffic it's LA traffic in a small town. And so for that one, we have to plan extra for parking and traffic plan. Our PD, they do a great job every year with their traffic plan for the exit. This past year we tried something new with once a lot's full, that lot's closed. Once we get to a certain time, we shut the park down, so that way, while it's dark and people are driving in the park, just so they can look up and see the lights and they're still driving, or the fireworks and they're still driving. We wanted to be safe. Is it an inconvenience to some folks? Sure, but safety is always key at these things. And this year there's going to be a lot more logistic challenges with parking as well. So, and those will be announced as we get closer to the event.
Well, we're looking forward to it. Hopefully we have, I don't want to say good weather, but it's going to be warm, but looking forward to that one. And another thing I think that you're focusing on is maybe potentially partnering with maybe local companies, organizations. Is there any chance of sponsorship opportunities?
Yeah, for all these events, that's something last year that I sat back for all these events and looked at and was like, okay, someone could probably sponsor that bounce house area, or someone could be the presenting sponsor for Independence Day, which is a massive event for us, and other things like that. These concerts are also a good one too, for companies, and small or big. I would prefer local companies, but if it benefits the event, it makes sense for events like that. Any company that wants to come on board to partner with us, I'm open to those discussions. But yeah, I'm starting to look at what can we do to get more local businesses involved as far as partnership. And if you're a Forney business and you want to get your name out there and you want to be a part of these events, reach out to me. My information's on the web, and I believe y'all shared a post too that let people know where to email me at. So those partnerships are crucial to these events, and crucial to not only for their growth, but if we can get a Forney business as a partner and get their name out there, however way we can. That's something that I take seriously.
If you're interested, reach out to Ricky. His email is on the Forney Parks page, so check that out. Ricky, is there anything else that you wanted to talk about? I don't want you leaving here feeling like I should have talked about that more, or we can always have you back. But was there anything else you wanted to touch on?
Not off the top of my head. I guess I would say is there's different comments, or criticisms or whatever that are left online that I just wanted everyone to know that I see those and I take them serious, because I want to make sure these events are as appealing to as many people as possible. So I'm not taking them taking them to heart. I'm taking them into consideration on what we can do different for these events. So even if you don't like an event and you want to tear it to shreds online, I can, that's fine with me. I can look at it and say, okay, well, maybe I can do something to benefit this person or this group of people the next time around. I'm always open to criticism, to change, to suggestions and all that stuff. So, but I'm hoping that I can put on these events that the majority of people will love and enjoy.
Yes, and if you don't see the comments, I definitely will. So I'll make sure to relay them. But yeah, absolutely.
Your job is to email me the good comments. That's it. No, none of the bad. None of the bad.
Only positive feedback.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just want to make sure for the folks listening, I want them to know about these events and, like we talked about, know about the Spelman Amphitheater and all the great stuff coming. So once again, we're gonna have all that information at forneytx.gov/events, and you can follow us on social media, City of Forney Facebook page, the Forney Parks and Events Facebook page. We're on Twitter and Instagram as well. So just make sure you follow us. Stay tuned. We have a lot of exciting announcements. Ricky, thank you so much for being my first guest.
Yeah,
really
thank you.
it.
Thank you for letting me be the first. I will definitely rub this in Kyle's face.
Yeah, Kyle, our parks director, was really mad that he was not selected to be number one, so definitely rub it in his face. Thank you all so much for listening. This has been the Forney Now podcast.